Hello. At the start of the 18th century, the domestic iron industry was unable to meet rising demand. Pig iron was being imported from Sweden, Russia and the United States. By the close of the century, Britain was exporting iron, and a decade later was the world's leading iron producer. In part 3, I looked at the innovations by Abraham Darby and his successors at Coalbrookdale, and in part 4 talked about the precision components required to build an efficient steam engine. In this video, I'm going to say more about the incremental advances in iron production that took place throughout the 18th century and some of the key figures involved. In 1783, ironmaster Peter and Irons, building on the work of Thomas and George Cranage in refining the reverberatory furnace concept, in which fuel and metal are separated in a firebox and hearth, had patented a puddling process for refining pig iron, in which molten iron was stirred to isolate impurities. These ideas were developed by Henry Cort, a partner in the Fontley Ironworks in Hampshire. Cort patented his own more efficient reverberatory furnace the same year, followed by a mechanised puddling furnace in 1784. Richard Crawshay served an apprenticeship with a leading London-based iron merchant dealing in imported iron and took over the business in 1763 when his master retired. He acted as agent for the Cyfartha Ironworks in Merthyr Tydfil, which had a government contract to supply cannons. He became a partner in the ironworks and took out a licence to use Cort's puddling process. Crawshay took complete control in 1791 and built Cyfartha into the largest ironworks in South Wales, and along with neighbouring ironworks at Dowlais, the most important. Crawshay was among the promoters of the Glamorganshire Canal, constructed in the 1790s to provide better access to the docks at Cardiff. Products were exported worldwide. The Trans-Siberian Railway, the longest railway line in the world, was built with iron rails forged in South Wales. John Roebuck, in partnership with Samuel Garbett, built a factory at Prestonpans in Scotland to produce sulphuric acid, in great demand from the iron industry where it was used to combat oxidisation. Roebuck had developed an innovative production method using lead-lined containers, but hadn't patented the process, which was soon exploited by others. Roebuck moved on to iron founding, establishing the Carron Company Ironworks near Falkirk, again with Garbett and another partner, Scottish shipowner William Cadell. Lots of experimental work took place at the Carron foundry. Before transferring his interest to Matthew Boulton, Roebuck had supported James Watt's work on the steam engine and installed the first engine produced by Boulton and Watt in 1776. Henry Cort carried out tests on his puddling process at the Carron Company Ironworks. Initially concentrating on cannons, the Carron Company gained a reputation for high quality. In the early 19th century, Carron had become the largest ironworks in Europe, with around 2,000 employees. The company diversified, producing a wide variety of goods, among them cast iron baths, fire grates, post boxes and telephone kiosks, including the classic K2 design by Sir Giles Gilbert Scott. John Wilkinson, known as Iron Mad Wilkinson, served an apprenticeship in Liverpool before joining his father, who worked as a casting subcontractor at an iron foundry in what is now Cumbria, alongside running his own small business. In 1753, Wilkinson Sr. formed a partnership to operate Bersham Foundry near Wrexham in northeast Wales, where smelting iron ore with coke had begun in 1721. John followed his father south 2 years later to start work at Bersham and became part of a partnership that expanded into the West Midlands, building a blast furnace at Willey in Shropshire and a larger concern, the Bradley Ironworks at Bilston in the Black Country. In 1761, John took over the management of Bersham. John Wilkinson patented several inventions, including in 1775 a machine for boring a core through a solid casting in order to manufacture cannon, an improvement on simply casting a barrel in a mould that required a blowhole, creating an inherent weakness. The technique was applied to producing the precision cylinders that ensured the success of James Watt's steam engine. Wilkinson was one of the promoters of the famous iron bridge at Coalbrookdale that we covered in part 3 of this series. It was Wilkinson's eccentricity in later life that led to the epithet Iron Mad. He began using iron to manufacture all sorts of objects, including iron barges, an iron church with an iron pulpit for his employees — Wilkinson was a Presbyterian — and his own coffin. The world's first completely iron-framed building, and as such with a claim to being the ancestor of the skyscraper, was the 5-storey Ditherington Flax Mill in Shrewsbury, largely completed in 1797. The advantage of iron framing was strength, durability, and importantly fire resistance. Ditherington Mill was designed by Charles Bage, a partner in the mill, in collaboration with William Strutt, from a textile mill owning Derbyshire family. It was later adapted for different purposes, most recently as a maltings, and lay derelict for several years before restoration and a new lease of life as a museum and exhibition space. Guided tours are on offer to visitors. Next time, another figure who helped lay the foundations of the Industrial Revolution, groundbreaking inventor Henry Cort, who set new standards of accuracy in machine tool technology. If you've enjoyed this video, hit the like and subscribe buttons and click on the notification bell to be informed when the next video is available, or you can subscribe by clicking on the rose window over my shoulder.